All right, folks, buckle up, because this hearing isn't just about energy policy, it's about who really benefits from Britain's clean energy transition. Right from the start, the Secretary is pressed on whether communities will actually share in the profits or if corporations will walk away with all the power, literally and financially. The debate, should towns and municipalities get a guaranteed 20% stake in these massive new wind projects, like they do in Germany and Denmark, or will British communities once again be left in the shadows while foreign companies and private investors cash in? This is where politics, economics, and justice collide. And trust me, things are only going to get more heated from here.
Let's talk quickly and briefly about that sense of urgency. You mentioned trade unions. I declare my interest as a member of the GMB. Trade unions warn that your 2030 targets means that you'll be buying all this supply chains and manufacturing stuff off the shelf from other countries rather than building up the manufacturing base here. Also, left behind in your rush to 2030 might be communities. I'm intrigued about what you said about the planning and infrastructure bill and how you have to make a bargain with people. It has to be community benefit. I'd rather see community share, and in Denmark and Germany, 20% is owned, each wind farm is owned by the local municipality or community. Will your planning bill include a 20% offer to municipalities, communities, and if not, why?
I can't guarantee you of that, but I have read your questions and what you've said about this, and indeed you and I have talked about this community share issue, and I think it's a really interesting issue. And if you think about our local power plan, our GB Energy local power plan, it's absolutely about the idea. And if you talk to RWE, for example, they say, look, as a matter of course in other countries, for example, Germany, we might be building significant onshore wind, but some of it will be owned by the community. And I think absolutely community share and looking at the issue of community ownership will be part of our GB Energy local power plan. And we should be open to all of these issues because, part of what we want to do is show in practice that this change, this clean energy transition that we're embarked upon can have direct benefits for people. So I think it's an idea we should pursue.
And just quickly, on this worry about supply chain jobs and manufacturing jobs going abroad rather than coming here.
Look, here I think is the reality, which is the concentration in supply chains has been built up over a long period. And I'm afraid it's because the last government didn't take the view that we needed to build in Britain, or at least not sufficiently. I have a different view, which is it really matters that we build our own supply chains. It really, really matters because this is a massive jobs opportunity. And as Keir Starmer says, the Prime Minister says, why not us? That's why we're putting in these new institutions. But if people say to me, well, look, while you're putting in place these new institutions to build supply chains in the UK, why don't you sort of down tools, and I know you're not saying this, but down tools and wait until the supply chains in Britain are built and then get on with your thing? I think it'll be grossly irresponsible for the reasons that I've set out, because we're leaving ourselves exposed to the biggest energy security challenge we face, which is these fossil fuel markets, which we as a government have no control over.
Thank you. It's been put to me that there is a potential and a real concern that a withdrawal, an early withdrawal from the North Sea, will impact the total receipts from the energy profits levy and the other oil and gas related taxes. What is your response to that concern?
Look, I said to Talkcall that our dialogue with Aberdeen Chamber of Commerce, OE UK and others is really important, and it is partly that dialogue, and obviously I don't determine tax policy and I should be very careful not to suggest I do, but that led to some changes in relation to capital allowances that were announced in the budget by the Chancellor, and that followed that dialogue. It's really, really, our manifesto was clear about this, which is we will keep existing oil and gas fields open for their lifetime, decades to come. We will not issue new licenses to explore new fields. And the truth is that new licenses to explore new fields are a relatively marginal part of the future prospects for the North Sea. It's really, but we are led by the science in saying that. And I think what's important to say is that we can both achieve the just transition that we seek and maintain confidence and indeed tax receipts in the North Sea, from the North Sea, and at the same time build the future in the way that I've talked about. And that's what we are determined to do.
Thank you very much. Bradley Thomas, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thanks, Secretary of State, for coming. So, late last year, the NESO report assessing the system costs of delivering the Clean Power 2030 plan assumes a carbon price of £147 per tonne of CO2. That's the highest in the developing world, and I understand that it's £60 per tonne higher than the assumption that your department is working to. So, given your reliance upon the independence of NESO in the recent past, which assumption is your department working to?
I can write to you on the specifics around the carbon price. I think the important thing on the NESO report is what it shows about the potential for lower bills. I know you had Fintan.
Now here's where it gets tricky. The questioning shifts toward North Sea oil and gas, and watch how carefully the Secretary treads. He insists current oil fields will remain open, but he flatly refuses to issue new licenses. That's a balancing act between climate commitments and the cold, hard reality of tax revenues. And here's the million-pound question. Can the UK maintain its fiscal strength while scaling down new exploration? This is more than an environmental debate. It's a financial gamble. Should the government squeeze out the last drops of North Sea oil, or should it cut its losses and double down on renewables? What would you do in this situation?
Before your committee, but I can write you in detail the carbon price.
Okay, assume that carbon price is, is accurate. Assume that's the one that bears out in reality. What's your assessment, given that businesses are hurting? Given that in your opening words at the start of this session, you said that businesses pay the price if we get energy policy wrong. Your assessment on the extent to which that carbon price would hit businesses, jobs, investment?
Well, I'm not going to just endorse these assumptions in the way that you are suggesting. But what I am going to say to you is that we can definitely achieve 2030 clean power in a way that is good for business. And if you think about the response of industry right across the board to this document that we produced in December, whether it's in manufacturing or whether it's in the electricity sector, or in gas, there is actually wide endorsement of this plan. And the reason there is endorsement of this plan is because people have been crying out for a framework and for certainty, and that is what we're providing.
Do you think it would be wise to ask NESO to do any more modelling?
We work with NESO all the time on these issues. We work hand in glove with NESO, I mean, not just on modelling, but on all of these questions, because they have a crucial role in the system, and they have a crucial role in helping us to deliver clean power. But I just got to be honest with you, the worst thing for business in the last few years has been their massive exposure to what happened when Russia invaded Ukraine, because that sent business costs absolutely through the roof. And there are businesses in my constituency and yours who haven't recovered from that. Small businesses, medium-sized businesses, large businesses. So if you're asking me, do I think that it's the pro-business measure is to back off, is to say let's just rely on fossil fuels, let's gamble, let's keep our fingers crossed, let's play in the fossil fuel casino and hope that geopolitical events mean that fossil fuel prices don't go up, I part company with you.
As I've got a bit of time, Chair, and given that Secretary of State has referred to prices and what drives business confidence, we see a lot of levies applied to one side of energy rather than the other. The government is pushing heat pumps, right? Businesses regularly cite to me that electricity prices are one of their biggest inhibitors day to day in terms of running costs, but also future investment plans. Do you agree that energy market reform is something the government should aspire to?
Absolutely.
Electricity market reform.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you talking about where levies are?
It would include where levies are applied, but also perhaps broader reform of the electricity market.
Well, look, that is definitely something that we are embarked upon, and I covered it earlier, and these are difficult questions. Look, on the issue of electricity prices, I think this is the potential, both for business and for families, of clean power by 2030, which is giving some certainty to business and others, giving that security that frankly they haven't had for a very long time and that I've referred to. I think, and I know the committee has looked at this issue around rebalancing. I mean, these are complex issues. The principled case is completely understandable, which is that you want to make electricity cheaper. Whether it's to do with families or businesses, we have to find a way to do it in a way that is fair and doesn't impose problematic burdens. And I believe, Chair, that you referred to the Nesta report on these issues. That's an interesting contribution to the debate. So this is definitely something that we are actively looking at, but I'm sort of being cautious about this because I think in all of these decisions, it goes back to my answer to Luke, in all of these decisions, we've got to make sure that we don't have unintended consequences.
Thank you very much.
And there you have it. The Secretary doubling down on his 2030 clean power vision while dodging concerns about skyrocketing carbon prices, business costs, and whether energy market reform can truly ease the burden. What's clear is this. The UK's clean energy transition isn't just a climate pledge, it's a high-stakes battle between industry, government, and communities fighting to secure their share of the future. Will reforms make electricity cheaper for families and businesses, or will hidden costs leave taxpayers footing the bill? Either way, today's exchanges reveal just how fiercely contested this energy revolution really is. Now I want to hear from you. Who do you think made the stronger case here? The committee or the Secretary? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this breakdown eye-opening, smash that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom and parliamentary showdowns every week.